God save you, Tess. God be with you, Teresa. Good day, Teresa. How are you, Teresa? God save you, Tess. Teresa, I'm glad to see you. Good day, Teresa. I'll be with you, Teresa. How are you, Teresa?
You'd think it was a cathedral he was building, always adding fancy bits and decorations. All I want is something to keep that damned cow out.
Hasn't he been at it a couple of years already?
3. He was out there again yesterday evening, staring at the baby scratching.
Sampling his habitat today.
I'll take the old woman.
Good day.
God be with you, Teresa. Riza.
God save you, Tess.
I could do with a bite to eat.
Teresa, I'm glad to see you. How are you, Teresa? God be with you, Teresa.
God save you, Tess.
I really feel quite hungry.
Teresa?
But you only cut the tree down last autumn. You can't have...
No, but I cut off the top.
A groschen or two?
May the Lord watch over you.
Good day, Teresa.
Hmm?
God be with you, Teresa. Should I mug out stables like you? Is that what you